We're Cassie,
and Emily,
and this is Book Bits and Chill, a podcast where we talk about books, movies, and pop culture the way that you actually experience them.
This show is for type B readers, people who love stories but don't want the pressure, perfection, or the participation trophies.
Hit follow, grab a drink, and let's talk about it.
I have a question that could start a fight in an Instagram comment section.
Oh no.
Do you think audiobooks count as reading?
Oh, of course.
Some people say that, but some people say absolutely not. Like, they act like if you didn't suffer with your eyeballs through 500 pages, you didn't read a book.
Okay, well, those people are absolutely missing out on a transformative experience.
I 100% agree, and that's why today we're talking about the best audiobooks we've ever listened to, the worst ones, whether audiobooks can actually make a book better, graphic audio, narrator obsession, and all of our audiobook hot takes.
Oh, yeah. So if you've ever listened to a 12-hour audiobook at 2x speed and called it self-care, this episode is absolutely for you.
So let's get into the hot debate. Why do people say that audiobooks are not reading? I truly cannot comprehend.
At the most basic level, an audiobook counts as reading because you are still progressing in the same story. It's just in a different format. It's just with your ears instead of your eyes. So I'm like, I don't even know why this is a debate or even a conversation, because it's like, if I'm listening to this versus watching it with my eyeballs, it is the exact same thing. Like, nothing has changed about the story. We're not talking about a book adaptation versus a book.
Yes, I was just about to say that.
A book versus a book. And
I was
it's
literally
just a different format.
Like, people are acting like listening to an audiobook is watching the movie version of the book. Like, it's the same words, word for word.
Correct. And it's just, again, it's in a different place. Instead of looking at it on a page, you're listening to it. So yeah, anyone that's saying this, to be honest, is looking for some rage bait. And that's the reality of this.
It's the same people that are claiming like romance books aren't real reading. It's like, and don't be those people on the internet. Just leave it alone.
Don't be those people. Come on. If you are one of those people listening to us right now, stop it right now.
Stop it. Slap on the wrist.
Cut it out. Come on.
Audiobooks for me have like absolutely changed my life. Like, I love cleaning my house now.
Yeah.
The real war we should be waging when it comes to the topic of audiobooks is not, do they count as reading? Is like how much they freaking cost to listen to and all of the platforms that we're absolutely hustling to get these books.
We are hustling. The amount of free trials that I've put myself on every possible audiobook platform is unbelievable.
I can't make any more fake Gmail accounts. I'll be kicked off.
No, there's no more scheming for me. Like, I'm pretty locked in. So how would you say that now that you have gone past your free trial period on every platform, that you are getting your audiobooks?
It's a monthly stress for me. Like, I have not figured out the equation. I know we have a lot of followers that have like a science to it, and I can't figure it out. So I just like literally hope for the best. Like,
I know.
I am like scouring Amazon for when like Audible sales are on. I'm trying to like make sure I have enough listening hours for the correct book on Spotify. It's a monthly stress for me.
I totally agree. I feel like what it's boiled down to me at this point is I will first start with Libby. And if the audiobook is not available on Libby, I will then decide how much of that book I'm willing to eyeball read versus listen to. And if I'm going to eyeball read more of it, then I will use my Spotify hours for it. And if I think I'm going to listen to more of it, then I just will use a credit on Audible. And that's really been it.
And a lot of people, I guess, that are rereaders, I'm not a rereader, so you let me know, maybe would want to do Audible because then you like own the book and you can re-listen.
Yeah, that's true. That's a great point.
So now that we've established audiobooks definitely count as books, and they have completely changed who we are as readers, and I think everybody else should get on board too. Let's talk about a little bit of an audiobook recommendation rabbit hole, because we are a bit of connoisseurs, I would say.
That's right. And I think that you could almost think of this as more of a little bit of a guide, I would say. Like, if you are not an audiobook listener and you want to be, Or if you are an audiobook listener and you're like, what else is out there? What should I be listening to? This is a great guide for you. So I think we should start with probably the gateway drug is what I would call it. This is the audiobook that I would literally give to someone immediately who is like, I've never listened to an audiobook or I don't like audiobooks. And that
100%.
is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir.
Yes. This book is so immersive. You truly feel like you are in space in a sci-fi film. It is so entertaining. The characters' voices, the narration. Oh, I could go on.
It's so crazy, too, because there's literally one single narrator. Like, it's just a man. And which makes sense because that's literally also the book. But I think I think the thing that made it so incredible was that this man is so beautifully able to like capture the essence of this story and of Ryland and like his sarcasm and his dry humor and his wittiness and his sadness and all of these things. Like you feel it from this guy. But then also when you're reading about Rocky on page, to me, it just did not have the same impact as hearing it in the audiobook. Like it was just like, I don't know. Like I could maybe come up with an alien voice in my head, but hearing it live, I was like, oh my God, this is so perfect.
And this is one of those books that when you're reading it, it can kind of be hard to digest. And to your point, like, what does an alien sound like? What does a scientist sound like when he's calculating X, Y, and Z? And so to hear the audio with it, it makes it so much more accessible of a story to people that are like outside the sci-fi genre.
And I think, which I feel like we've been saying this since we read it last year, like I would recommend this book to literally anyone, like if you're a sci-fi reader, if you're not.
Yeah.
So I do think this story at its core is unbelievable and anyone can and should read it. But the audiobook just literally takes it to the next level.
Yeah.
And I also think that this was the first book that I've ever immersive read, which is a thing online that I learned about last year.
Oh, she's taking us to tier 3 of audiobooks.
Tier 3.
Right
yeah, I'm not necessarily recommending this, but if you are intrigued, it was a very cool experience. Like I literally sat and read with my eyes while I was listening with my ears, and I felt like I was in a movie. It was the craziest thing.
Yeah. I cannot recommend this enough. If you are a little bit scared of like the sci-fi genre, you don't think that it's for you, please, please, please give the audiobook a chance. And I think we can change your mind.
Agreed. And if you've maybe seen the movie and you wanted to read the book and you loved kind of the back and forth between Rocky and Ryland from the movie, like they just do it so well in the audio. It can't be beat.
100% agree. And on the topic of books that I genuinely felt like were better to listen to than physically read, this kind of falls into that category. I love the book so much, but I genuinely think the audiobook made it so much better. I have quite a few that also fall into that list.
All right, let's hear them.
I really feel like there's this group of books that are like very imaginative. Like you definitely need to use your imagination to understand what's going on. And there's a lot of people that don't do well with that in books. Like they don't know how to picture these beings, how to understand what the voices sound like. And so this group of imaginative books that I'm thinking of are things like Remarkably Bright Creatures, where you're trying to think of a talking octopus.
Marcellus.
I know. The House in the Cerulean
octopus.
Sea, where like there's like little kids who have like alternative, I would say like body types or like okay, that's such a weird description. They're like they're like half creature, half human. Is my point.
Alternative body types.
They're like a centaur, but not a centaur. What would you call those?
Okay, that makes way more sense. I thought you were talking about like tall and skinny versus like short and squat.
Isn't that so hard to describe? But when I heard it in my ears described, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, totally. As you were talking about it, it made perfect sense.
Yeah. And then a book that I listened to and I didn't actually read with my eyes, and I have a better opinion of it than most people, is The Midnight Library. A
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
people didn't, like, love that book, but I listened to it, and it described, like, her falling through this library and choosing these books and these
Yeah.
doorways that she pushes through, and I think that this list of, like, imaginative books is always, for me, going to be better on audiobook.
That makes perfect sense. I think that my grouping for this one is maybe the exact opposite, and it's more
I love
it's
that.
more like like real as realistic as it gets. Like it's like memoirs or it's literary
Mm,
fiction that is like based in very clear reality
I could
where
see that.
sometimes I feel like those things can get dry or dense on the page, but then when you're listening to it, it just jumps out of you and it makes it feel so much more connective. And so, for example, on the memoir side, like Tuesdays with Maury, like the
Mm,
author Mitch Albom narrated that, and it was so beautiful because he is like doing his impersonation of Maury the whole time, obviously, and then he's like in the story as well. And so you really just like feel things so much deeper hearing it directly from
right.
the source. Or Fame Sick by Lena Dunham, like it's all about her life and she's the one talking about it. Like I
So you
just
can
thought like
feel the emotion.
exactly. Yeah. Or this book, Everything I Know About Love, which wasn't necessarily a memoir by Dolly Alderton, but it's actually like a Bridget Jones inspired book. And I feel
Ooh,
like listening to her talking about like her dating life and what she's thinking and how she's feeling and all of that stuff, like you're almost like, oh, this is so much more fun to listen to. So I feel like, and oh, the last one that I had was the Rachel incident, which I feel similar with all of the things that I just said, but also that one is set in Ireland, and so you have the accent included into
oh, I
it, which
love
like
an accent in an audiobook.
yeah, and then this one was like more comedic focused too, and so I feel like the punchlines are delivered way stronger.
Yes, I've never
Um
thought of that before, how, like,
yeah,
the way the line is delivered can change the story so much.
100%. And then the last one was Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. This one was actually narrated by Meryl Streep, and as we know, she
Love.
is an Oscar-winning actress. So
Love.
her portrayal of this story just like made it 4,000 times better than it would have been on the page. Like I know that I would have been reading that book like potentially bored out of my mind, and
Yeah.
I was enraptured the whole time listening to Meryl do this entire thing.
That is such a good point. I'm not much of, like, a nonfiction reader, but, like, if I was listening to a nonfiction book narrated by, like, Morgan Freeman, I'd 100% enjoy it so much more.
Totally, totally. And I do really think it changed the ratings for a lot of these books for me, where like maybe I would have gotten something really good out of reading Tuesdays with Morrie no matter what with my eyes, but like listening to it, like I was sobbing at the end. And like there is probably no way that I would have been crying like that if I was just reading it.
And what a waste if somebody was against listening to audiobooks. They
What a
never could have
waste.
experienced all of these emotions that we just shared with you.
And that, I guess, is leads me to a really great question. Like, can audiobooks improve books for you? Like, can it improve your rating that it
A
might have been completely different otherwise?
1,000%. And it can also ruin books. Like, we need to be
Right.
honest here. It can also
100%.
completely tank the reading experience if they
Totally.
choose the wrong narrator, which I don't know
Yeah.
who casts these books. Like, do the authors get to choose
I
who's
don't
reading
know.
their books?
I maybe it depends on the author because I know that Kennedy Ryan, for example, is very meticulous about like who she chooses for her books. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I think there's probably writers that are more invested in that than others, but to your point, it can absolutely ruin a reading experience also.
There was a book I read recently. It was a romantasy book. I can't remember which one exactly, but the girl, of course, was supposed to be like some 18-year-old maiden. And the
Yeah,
voice
of
of the
course.
woman narrator was like a 40-year-old smoker's voice. I'm
What?
like, what are we doing here? I cannot imagine this woman falling in love with this gruff man that's speaking to her. I think she actually needs to drink a glass of water.
Oh, no. I mean, that is I remember last year, First Time Caller by BK Borison, one of my favorite
Hmm.
contemporaries from last year. I tried to listen to a little bit of it on a walk, and I had to shut it off because I was like, this is going to ruin this book for me, and I am loving it too much for this to happen. It was the craziest thing, and it was because of the male voice, which is why,
Yeah.
like, the woman was incredible. She was perfect, but I had already read enough of the book and, like, had enough of a sense of what I thought that he might sound like, and then I did it, like, halfway through, and I was like, "Oh, no, I'm out."
Yeah. Yeah. It's a scary
Absolutely
side of
not.
the audiobooks. You do have to kind of learn which ones you enjoy and which
Yep,
ones you don't.
yep,
Which
yep. Agreed.
obviously we have been on the spectrum of good to bad. So we have an opinion on certain audiobooks that we would like recommend constantly that have been tried and tested for you.
Tried and true. All right, so what do you think for this one?
I promise you, every single Taylor Jenkins Reid book on audiobook is going to be amazing. Like,
I
trust
agree.
me.
Agreed.
Ensemble casts, so cinematic. They do different actors for all the different characters in the ensemble cast. It's like watching a movie in your ears.
Yeah, yeah, I could totally get on board with that. I listened to Atmosphere on audio. It was unbelievable. I actually remember listening to the last like 2 chapters of that book, which are just a literal
Heartbreak.
emotional like dagger to the heart
Yeah.
for like 90% of it. And I remember sitting and listening and just staring at the wall wide-eyed. And I was like, I would definitely still have this feeling probably reading the book, but like it was just turned up a notch listening to
Yes.
it.
And Daisy Jones and the Six,
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
Malibu Rising, Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, all of her books, like, they just hit you. 1-2 punch
1-2
right
punch.
in the
Real quick.
ears.
Yep, yep, I would totally agree. One that I would add that I feel like is similar to what you're saying is The Favorites by Lane Fargo,
Yes.
where you literally feel like you are listening to a docu-series on
Yes.
these people, which I felt like that with Daisy Jones and the Six, and it's a very similar writing style within those 2 books, but you get the different voice actors, they, like, do when they're doing the interviews that, like, they
The
make it very clear that
interviews.
it's, like, a TV interview or whatever, and they're like
Yeah.
it's just the way that it was produced was so perfect where you literally feel like you are watching a movie or something. It was
Or like
so
a
good.
Bravo show, which maybe that's why I loved it so much. I can't forget that
A
audiobook. I
drama.
can hear so specifically still in my head the guy that does the like sideline reporting.
Yeah.
He does like the snippets in between the chapters, and I can hear
Yeah.
his voice and like the style of the conversation so perfectly in my brain still because it's so burned in.
Agreed. And a lot of people hated this book, by the way. Like, it's a very polarizing book. And I think that it might have made us love it even more because you are so much more like immersed with these characters when you're
Yeah.
hearing that versus when you're reading it. I could totally see how it would be like these people are insufferable and I cannot stand how much drama is happening in this book.
Which side note, it is a Wuthering Heights retelling. You're supposed to hate the characters, but I
Yeah.
digress.
I digress. And then my last one that actually does not fit in any of these categories, but I actually know that's not true because the story itself feels very cinematic. It's called Strangers by Belle Burden. And
Oh,
it's actually a memoir about her
yeah.
life, but they're making it into a movie starting Gwyneth Paltrow. And I'm so excited.
Gwyneth Paltrow is so wild. What is she not doing these days?
I don't know, but she is literally perfect for this, like unbelievably perfect for this. And it was narrated by Belle Burden, so kind of similar to what I was saying before, but like this story is just so crazy. It's like this insane cautionary tale about marriage and like sharing a life with someone and how you lose yourself and the blowbacks of that. And so like listening to her tell it, you're just like, no, what? Why?
Should everybody listen while they're planning their wedding?
Yes, for sure. Totally.
And so
It's
they can decide
perfect.
if they want to run.
Absolutely. But it's also like such an easy one to listen to as well because it's obviously very immersive, but the book is like pretty short. And I feel like that story, like again, just hearing her deliver it, you're like, oh my, I cannot believe that this happened. Like, this is insane.
Oh, I am adding that to my audiobook TBR for sure.
Highly recommend.
It sounds like that book surprised you. And I have quite a list of audiobooks that have surprised me in the past that I never expected to enjoy so much.
Agreed. There have been some that have really like knocked me off my feet where I've been like, oh, I can maybe only listen to the rest of this book versus read it.
100%. And I don't know what it is. Like it has to be the narrator. What else could it be?
Yeah, totally. Because it's the same story.
Yeah. So a couple of books that I've read, and some of these are going to throw you for a loop, but
Whoa.
I remember this one so specifically. I was commuting to a job and I was bored out of my mind at the job and on the commute. And I decided to listen to the audiobook of Catch Me If You Can, which is a incredibly famous movie. I don't know what was in me, but I decided to listen to this audiobook. It was literally better than the movie. I can't even tell you, Cassie. The audiobook was literally better than the movie. I was in shock.
Front door.
Flabbergasted. The narrator is so good. I don't know who he is. It's not Tom Hanks, but it sounds like Tom Hanks. And
Timu Tom Hanks.
And just the way that this man portrayed the main character and all of the shenanigans he was up to was insane. Like, I highly recommend anybody listen to that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm shocked by this.
Wild recommendation.
I might do this this week.
Catch Me If You Can.
Whoa.
Another thing that I feel like similar, where like the narrator just like brought so much life to the story and I didn't expect it. Dark Matter by Blake Crouch.
Oh yeah, that was.
Did you listen to that one, or did you only eyeball read?
I think I listened to part of it. But I majority eyeball read. The guy's voice was amazing.
Voice so scratchy, and like you feel like he was like hiding secrets and tiptoeing around, and how did they do it?
I do remember the parts that I listened to were like particularly suspenseful, and I remember the narrator really delivering on that in such a great way where I was like, oh my God, like I can't even like do anything while I'm listening to this because I just like have to stare at the wall while it's happening because I'm so nervous.
Yes, they're truly like voice actors. Like I hope they have an award category in some awards show.
I think that they do at the Grammys.
Okay, amazing. I wonder who won last year. I'd like to judge that.
It was a random book because I watched the Grammys and I could not place what it was at all.
Get us on the board, Grammys.
Get us on the board immediately.
Do you have any that have like completely flabbergasted you like I am?
Yes, the Boys of Tommen series. So I've only listened to Binding 13 and Keeping 13 so far, but I think those surprised me in a way that I was just not expecting to love the stories as much as I did. And the audio, I think, made the stories so much better because you are getting not just the like Shannon and Johnny voices, but you're getting the true accents. Like you're getting like the way that they're like bantering back and forth. Like the voice actors are so good. And so that one really surprised me in general because I was very apprehensive on if I was going to like the stories at all. And I loved them, but I feel like the audio is what actually made them love me or me love them so much more.
When I turned on the audiobook for that, I was like surprised by the accent, but then I couldn't unhear it when I was eyeball reading, which I actually loved.
Yes, I totally agree. And then I feel like there's two that like I think that I would have probably picked up regardless, but I don't know if you would have, and you keep me honest here, but Babel and Blood Over Bright Haven, like those two stories to me did not feel as accessible. Like they felt like they were going to need a lot of brain power, a lot of focus, a lot of intention, which I still believe that. But I think that the audio made it so much easier to take in those stories and made it so much more approachable to get into those stories than maybe I would have felt if I was just eyeball reading them.
100%. I agree. Like, I was really nervous starting those books. I think you recommended both of them to me. And to your point, they take a lot of brain power. That's not a lie. This isn't like
Yeah.
conjecture. They do take a lot of brain power to read these
Yeah.
books. And they're heavy topics. And to be able to listen to it, I feel like brought it to my level of reading, which I'm not afraid to say. I'm a little bit of an average reader. And so I
You're
so
at a great
appreciate.
level.
I'm
You
at a
are
great
at
level.
an expert level.
So I appreciate that audiobooks can bring accessibility to people that might otherwise skip books because I
Yeah.
love both of those books.
Yes. I think we buddy read Babel, and I remember us both like losing our minds at that book in a way that like we probably would not have together if we weren't reading or if we weren't
Yeah.
listening at the same time.
Yeah. Shocking. R.F.
Shock
Kuang.
to love her. Great
Love
gal. Okay, so interested in if there's an audiobook that lives rent free in your head. Like no matter what, you're like, that audio was everything to me.
Okay, so I think we've touched on a couple of them already, and so I'll just quick fire, but like Project Hail Mary, obviously. The Favorites was another one where I was like, I cannot forget the sounds of those voices. Like,
Never.
But one that I do think that I think about a lot is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig. Because of the side character, the gargoyle.
Yes. Bartholomew.
His accent that he has in it, the way he delivers his jokes and his punchlines, and like, I don't think you necessarily have to listen to that book. Like, I think it's a great eyeball read, but I do think that the voices of the gargoyle specifically made it like something I'll never forget.
I 100% agree. And the narrator for Sybil, too, I thought was so perfectly cast. Like, she was unbelievable. And I think that she made me love Sybil even more. And I felt that way about, honestly, all of them. Like, the way that Rory was depicted, like, all of these central characters. But Sybil and Bartholomew were just, they jumped out to me in this way that I just will never forget. Like, that voice for Bartholomew is cemented into my brain at this point.
And like to your point earlier, these books can be lyrical, and that's a big struggle for a lot of people. And I actually think that if you struggle with reading lyrical, you should try the audiobook because it's just like very poetic and beautiful.
Agreed. I have two that are by one of my favorite contemporary romance authors, Allie Hazelwood.
Love her.
My queen, patron saint, Allie Hazelwood. So if you know anything about Allie, she writes these unbelievable rom-coms. Like, she's hilarious. But a lot of her books almost all of them center around women that are in STEM. So there are potential high-level things that they're talking about. But then also, she is not afraid to go rated R on her romance, let me tell you. So I don't know about you guys, listening to smutty scenes and spicy scenes for me is a challenge. It's a big challenge. I struggle with it a lot of times. Like, I will have to pause the audiobook when it gets to a spicy scene because I am embarrassed. I'm like, I can't do this. I need to read this in my own time with my own eyeballs.
In privacy.
And that's it. In privacy, in the privacy of my home. I did not feel this way with these two Allie Hazelwood books, Mate and Problematic Summer Romance. I actually thought that for me, it made the spicy scenes even better because
I do remember you saying that.
The voice actors for both of the people, the FMC and the MMC, were unbelievable. But like, the guy that was the MMC, I still think about to this day. And I don't know what his name is. I genuinely don't even want to learn it because I don't need to go there. But oh my God, the way that this man, because he's a werewolf, is able to actually make me feel like I am listening to a part werewolf, part man. Like, I was like,
no way!
My God, every single possible Omegaverse fantasy is coming to life for me right now. Like, it was unreal. Oh my God.
I can see that though, because it would be so hard to picture what like a man's voice would sound like that's like half werewolf. So thank God for audiobooks.
And let me tell you guys, these scenes for anyone who is familiar with the Omegaverse, like these centers or these stories that center around where people can get weird. There's some
Yeah.
things that happen that you have never been exposed to and will never be exposed to otherwise. And so for that to be able to be delivered in a way that like I'm not immediately like ripping out my headphones and shutting off the audio was unbelievable. So I would highly
Yeah.
recommend that one.
And her other book that is also very good on audiobook, but is a complete switch from that, Problematic Summer Romance.
Maya.
Moya!
Maya.
What is he, Scottish or something?
Yeah. We are completely
Like
we botched it so hard, but that
I
is
feel like we just did
what
the
lives.
pelican from Finding Nemo.
That is literally what lives rent free in my head is Connor Harkness saying Maya in this book and
Yeah.
in the audiobook.
Again, just like one of those books that could be an early 2000s rom-com that absolutely needs to be blasted into my eardrums.
Beautiful performances, genuinely.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I cannot get them out of my brain. Okay, so that lives rent free and those live rent free in my head, but there are audiobooks that I genuinely like could not put down.
Yes.
And I feel like those are very unique ones where it's almost got to be this like perfect storm of obviously a great narrator, but the performance of it has to
Yes.
be just like spectacular. And a lot of times these audiobooks are narrated by literally one single person. And I have a few
know.
where I was like, this audiobook narrator is like, again, give them an Oscar because they're literally playing 40 different characters and they're delivering on it so perfectly.
And you can't even tell. Like, I would look it up and
No.
thinking it was going to be like an ensemble cast, and it's one person.
It's one person.
Which I don't know that this is true for this person I'm about to say, but there is a narrator out there that everybody talks about a lot, Julia Whalen. And
Yep.
every book she does, I am just constantly entranced by her voice. Like, she has a
Yes.
siren song
Yeah,
that is
she
bringing
is.
me into the speakers of my car to the point where I'm like sitting in my driveway, unable to unpack the groceries because I need to keep listening to her voice. And she's done Into the Blue, which was one of our 5-star reads this year, The Women by Kristen Hanna. She does a lot of Emily Henry books, which chef's kiss. And
I think she does literally all of Emily Henry books.
I think she might too. But
Yeah, because everyone I've listened to, it's her. And I'm like, oh, additional star, auto star.
She
Julia.
does Audiobooks 5 stars. She does so good at, to your point, just like immersing me in the story. And so
Yes.
I don't think the Julia Whalen fan club is fake.
I don't either because I'm in it and I might be the co-chair of it from what it sounds like. I feel like I could not, when I think of audiobooks that I can't stop listening to, I more so lean like fantasy and romantasy within those because I feel like I'm just so immersed in a way that I might not be in the book, or maybe I would be. Like maybe it's the story that's really just doing it, but I feel like the audiobook just takes it to the next level. And so for me, one of those books was Duskbound by Greenwich and Lennox. And this is a part of their Esprithian series that is so good. It starts out with Riftbound, you get into Duskbound. The third book, I believe, is coming out later this year. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm dying for them to get an Ascended audiobook.
When we interviewed them, I actually took way too much of our time being like, the voice actor you picked for Aether is everything to me.
And they really did. They took a long time picking him. They told us that they like really drew out the process.
They self-produced this audiobook. So they literally found the narrators themselves. Like they were the ones that edited. It was crazy. So this one to me was one where I was like, holy cow, like this story was unbelievable, but it just was cemented into my brain with these voice actors.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Trial of the Sun Queen by Nisha J. Tooley.
Agree.
So the Artifacts of Uranus series, like the voice actor for Nadir, Excuse me?
That is what maybe shot him to the top of my book boyfriend list, because I was literally trying to clean the baseboards of my house to find more time to listen to this audiobook.
Well, and the story itself is just so good, and so, like, the action and the pacing just keeps you going, so listening to it, like, you feel like you're almost, like, in a movie, like, it's, like, very cinematic.
Yeah.
So, that was another one for me where I was like, "Oh, I cannot put this down." And then the last one is, Chain Gang All-Stars, which I read that book last year, and it's unbelievable. Like, the story itself is something that I would not be able to put down, but the voice actors that they picked for this were unreal. There's, like, a lot of singing involved in it too, where, like,
Ooh,
the voice
singing.
Yes, yeah, so it's like, it within Black culture, there's, like, a lot of, like, when you are storytelling, there was, like, a lot of, like, songs that they would storytell with,
Oh,
basically, and, like, a lot of,
interesting.
like, songs that were, like, passed down through generations, and it was just the way that these voice actors brought this to life was
Oh, I
unbelievable,
can
and, like,
imagine.
I was just so locked in, and I was thinking, like, if I was reading these songs and the way that these actors are, like, bringing these characters to life, it probably would have been a little bit different.
Yeah, I like literally have chills imagining what you're talking about. And I don't know that I could read that. I need to hear that in my
You
ears.
need to hear it in your ears. Get it in your ears. It was unbelievable.
Talking about these like immersive audiobook experiences where you're like hearing these songs, like you're hearing like the battle cries, etc.,
Yeah.
reminds me of this very new popular form of audiobook called graphic audio, where it's essentially
Yes.
supposed to be like a movie in your ears. So they do like all the sword sounds. If there's
Yeah.
kissing sounds. Like sometimes the graphic audio is a little too graphic in my experience.
I tend to agree. So my first graphic audio experience was with A Court of Thorns and Roses. And this was when we reread it last year. When I first
Yeah.
read it, I listened to just the normal audiobook. It was one narrator, that was it. I have to say that I think that I preferred the regular audio.
Yes, I would agree. I would agree.
Because to your point, like, I think if it was just pure fantasy, there's no romance, whatever, I would be so locked into a graphic audio. Like, the battle scenes were so cool. Like, you can hear the swords clinking, you can hear the, like, men screaming, like, you hear
Yeah.
all of these. It's so wild to listen to where you feel like you're, like, in the movie or in a movie.
Yeah.
However, the
However,
spicy scenes, as someone who is literally already cringing from just one narrator, like, talking about the spicy scenes, like, just literally
yeah.
reading it off the page versus listening to it happening, I'm like, "No."
I
I'm
listened
sorry.
to a spicy romanticy scene on graphic audio recently, and I felt inappropriate. I felt like I was in
I felt
the room
inappropriate.
with people and I needed to see myself out. I felt like I had chosen to be part of a triangle I didn't
Yeah,
ask to be a part of.
a triangle.
I was blushing, flabbergasted, like I can't put it to words.
Yeah, I do think that there is a range of, like, what I can really handle with listening to spicy scenes, and that was too far. I was like,
Yeah.
I need to experience this on my own time, in my own space, in my own head.
Privacy.
I don't need to be in the room where it happens, okay? I'm good.
There's also this big ick I have with graphic audio novels where like they'll be in some sort of like mess hall, like food hall, and they're all
Yeah.
eating together and everybody is hitting their metal forks on the plates and they will leave that sound in the graphic audio and I don't understand why. And you like can barely hear the voice actors because the clanking of eating is so loud.
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah, I think I would struggle with that too. I
Yeah.
have not yet found a graphic audiobook that I would be like, "You have to listen to this." However, I do think if I were to maybe listen to one of, like, the Lord of the Rings books, for example, like,
Yeah.
that would probably be one that I would feel very immersed in and very
Yeah.
locked into, but again, I think that's because it's a high fantasy book where you're not really getting as much of the romance elements to it, and I feel like I could, like, maybe that would be more palpable for me.
I don't know. You get a lot of group eating sessions in Lord of the Rings, so I don't know. Like, I won't do
a lot of
that.
plates clinking. Watch
What
out.
what we really want you to take away from this episode, though, is not the graphic audio plate clicking, but that audiobooks count and they can absolutely change your experience as a reader. And we really think you should give them a try if you haven't already.
Agreed. And if you have not been an audiobook consumer connoisseur, we're hoping that you have some really good recommendations now. And tell us your favorite ones if you end up listening to them.
You're going to want to come back next week to listen to how our June TBR fared and what we decided is going to make the cut for July.
Whoa, that's gonna be a juicy one because we are reading some wild things. I just read 3 random Carly Fortune books in like a week, so
I am feeling incredibly opinionated about my June reads, so I am ready to take some books down.
Okay, I'm ready. We'll see what I'm ready for.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we'll see you same time, same place. Grab your blankets, grab your book, my friends, and we'll see you then.